AI is ever present in today's discourse surrounding plant floor improvement initiatives. But the outcomes of these emerging applications tend to fail more often than they succeed. Joining us today is Hugo Dozois, CTO and co-founder of MaintainX. MaintainX is leading the digital revolution in maintenance and operations, enhancing the way teams work and collaborate worldwide. This is based on a simple premise. The tools provided to those keeping our world moving have been stuck in the past. The future of maintenance isn't about complex technology, but about making those advancements accessible and actionable. Part of this includes, of course, AI. And Hugo has some insights into how industrial professionals can get AI adoption right. So, Hugo, manufacturers keep buying these sophisticated dashboards, yet maintenance technicians are still struggling. From your vantage point, why does AI adoption so often start in the wrong place?
Yeah, I think people are always looking to start close to them. And so we see a lot that's being done on the reporting front, in the dashboard, things like that. But, that doesn't help the person in the field. For me, you have to start with something that's maybe non-obvious as well to leadership sometimes, like tribal knowledge just exiting the company. It's not really something you can measure easily. It's not something that you can see easily. But suddenly everybody feels it in the company and you don't really know what happened. And so I think this is why one of the reasons it fails. Solving problems that are closer to them, but not necessarily the most critical problem at the company level, not necessarily the most critical problem in the field. And then also just it's about things that are hard to measure. Right now in the industry, we're looking at a skilled labor gap of around 2.1 million skilled jobs by 2030. That is an insane amount of people that are exiting the space, and all that knowledge right now is never really captured. And so I think this is where it makes it really difficult. I think as well, like one thing that we see is that organizations sometimes underestimate the resource and skill gap that are happening in the company. Nearly half of the respondent of our last State of Industrial Maintenance report cite a lack of resources as a major roadblock. And then the problem is that lack of resource doesn't get better as people are exiting the company. The way we see it is there needs to be a tool that is really there to help bring that knowledge in. All this knowledge that no one wants to write down. Not going to lie, it's not fun to go and write in pages and pages of documentation. No one likes to do that. And so we have to find better ways of bringing that documentation in the system.
I absolutely agree. So your company has talked in the past about avoiding what you call expensive wallpaper dashboards that look impressive but don't actually change anything. So what does building AI from the front line up actually look like in practice to you?
Yeah, for sure. For me, it's a couple of things there. First, no one wants to sift through a ton of records, right? When you're in the middle of the problem, everything's on fire. You don't want to have to go into a library and go through tons of PDF records or a ton of manuals to find the information that you need. You need something that's right there with you in the moment that you can query to find the information that you need. Search is not necessarily a new problem space, but I think we're living in a world where we have access to much better search and information gathering. We're really in a place where all this should be at the fingertips of everyone in the field, and really being able to recall information from 3 years ago when a similar problem happened right there. That's one thing. Second, knowledge is hard to gather. So to me, successful AI is a platform that helps people bring in that tribal knowledge that's in the company, the things that everybody knows but doesn't really document, the thing that when you have a new onboardee, that's the first thing you're going to show them how to do. Like, you should have ways to capture this data really easily. It shouldn't take someone to sit down and think about for 3 hours what it is, and somebody else to review and somebody to approve, right? That data needs to get in the system really easily. You want something as well that is able to interact with the different inputs that you have access to as a maintenance team. You might get data from different machines, right? You connect to your PLC, you connect to sensors, you have data coming from operators about how a machine is performing. Maybe an operator might say like, feels like this machine is making more noise than usual. All this data is kind of unstructured at times. I think this is where AI really helps. This is what AI can help us make successful is that taking all this unstructured data, making sense of it, and helping triaging and dispatching to the right person. We often talk about the concept of right person for the right job. I think it's the same thing with information, is the right piece of information to the right person. You really want to make sure that you can route that information effectively, because as company grows, there's so much information going around, and it becomes really hard to make sure that the right people get access to it. But I think this is where AI comes in and really empowers us to solve that problem.
Yes, absolutely. So if you're a plant leader and you want to rethink your AI strategy right away, where do you think this person should realistically start? And what is a good signal that they can, get some feedback and know that they're actually doing it the right way?
Yeah, I think it's really important to start with a measurable metric, right? One thing that is hard to measure is like tribal knowledge exiting the company. So if you're trying to get started, that's probably not the first place where you can showcase wins. So I would say pick a metric that's really easy to measure. Maybe it's percentage of work orders completed and scheduled. Maybe it's the mean time to repair. Maybe it's your response time. Right? All of these metrics, I think, are places where AI can have a big impact by dispatching the right information to the right person, by making sure that jobs are scheduled the right way. And so by picking one metric, sticking to it, really getting some early results, I think that helps build trust. I think one thing that we're seeing right now in the world is that AI is a very new tool. There's a lack of trust around it, which is normal. This is what happens whenever there's change management. And so starting small, starting in the critical pieces as well. Maybe you start with a handful of critical assets, and these are the ones that you really instrument. Maybe you sift through your recent reactive work order and find that what's the most common reason, and you really focus on that area to have an impact. I think AI programs tend to not be successful when people are trying to go too wide. I think we have a lot of dreams and expectation about what it can do for us. I think in due time it will do all this, but change is hard. So it's about starting small, picking one metric, going with it, and then I think this is how we evolve from there.
Yes, absolutely. And documenting that success and sharing that widely within your organization probably makes a big impact as well.
Exactly.
Well, Hugo, thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate your insights on this topic.
Thank you so much, Anna. It's been a pleasure.